On the cold, silent expanse of a snow-covered frontier, where the wind howled like a wounded creature and the sky seemed to hang low with the weight of winter, Clara Dawson stepped off the rickety stagecoach with nothing but a worn carpetbag, a trembling heart, and a letter she had read so many times the ink had begun to smudge. She had arrived as a mail-order bride, one of the countless women who dared to gamble their futures on the words of men they had never met, but Clara carried even less than most. No dowry, no family waiting to hear from her, no friends sending letters of encouragement. What she had was hope, the fragile kind that flickers but refuses to burn out. As she wrapped her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders, she took in the silent ranch yard before her. A barn half buried in snow, a small cabin with warm smoke curling from its chimney, and a man standing at the porch, broad-shouldered, tall, and with a face carved by both hardship and kindness. Jacob Wright had expected a bride, yes, but not this trembling slip of a woman with red-rimmed eyes and a determination that seemed to rise from her very bones. His heart thudded once, harder than expected, because something about her fear, her courage, her sheer presence, felt oddly familiar, like a prayer he didn't realize he'd whispered once. Clara approached him with hesitant steps, breath-forming pale clouds in the freezing air. "Mr. Wright?" she asked, her voice barely louder than the wind. He nodded, stepping forward, his gaze softening as he took in her shivering form. "Jacob," he corrected gently. "If we're starting a life together, we can start with names we're comfortable saying." A flash of warmth sparked in her chest, enough to keep the cold away for a heartbeat. She followed him inside the cabin, where the warmth from the fireplace wrapped around her like a long-neglected embrace. The scent of pine logs and the crackle of flames felt like a miracle after days spent traveling with strangers. Yet even as she thawed, Clara's fear gnawed at her. What could she possibly offer this man? How could she be the wife he expected? She had no experience running a household, no beauty that she considered special, just the willingness to work and the wish to belong somewhere. But Jacob watched her from across the room, noticing the way she brushed melted snow from her sleeves, how she handled her simple bag with reverence, as though it held treasures instead of a spare dress and a scrap of ribbon. There was something in her that reminded him of Christmas itself, quiet, humble, but full of promise. When he placed a cup of warm broth in her hands, Clara's fingers trembled from more than the cold. "I know I'm not what most men would have chosen," she whispered, unable to meet his eyes. "I came with nothing. I can't promise to be everything you want. I only know how to try." Jacob leaned against the wooden table, crossing his arms, not in judgment, but in thought. "Clara," he said slowly, "I didn't send away for perfection. I didn't ask for riches or beauty or some woman raised in embroidery and manners. I asked for someone who wanted a chance at a real life. Someone who didn't give up." Her head lifted, eyes shining with unshed tears. "But why me?" He hesitated, searching for the right words. "Because your letters, they felt honest. They felt like someone writing from their soul, not someone trying to impress. And I've lived long enough on this land to know that honesty, hope, and heart are worth more than any dowry." Clara's breath caught. The room seemed to stop shifting, stop creaking, stop breathing for a moment. She didn't realize she was crying until Jacob stepped forward and gently wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb, a gesture so careful, so reverent, that she had to steady herself. Outside, the wind softened, carrying the faint glow of nearby lanterns as the sun dipped beneath the horizon dusted with gold and crimson. Snowflakes drifted lazily, glowing like tiny stars. It was Christmas Eve, and though neither of them had acknowledged it aloud, the weight of the holiday hung tenderly between them. "Clara," he murmured, "you aren't here with nothing. You're here with hope. And people forget, but hope is the greatest gift anyone can bring into a home." Her lips parted, astonished by the sincerity in his eyes. This wasn't pity. It wasn't duty. It wasn't obligation. It was something far deeper, an acceptance she had never known before. "I look at you," he continued, "and I see a blessing. Not a burden, not a gamble, a blessing I don't intend to lose." Clara's knees nearly buckled, her heart thundering with a kind of relief and longing she had kept locked away for years. A blessing. No one had ever called her that. She wasn't sure she deserved it, but the gentleness in Jacob's voice made her believe that maybe, just maybe, she could grow into it. There, before the fire that warmed more than the room, Jacob took her hands, rough palms enveloping her small fingers as though sealing a vow without needing spoken words. "Whatever life we build," he said, "we build it together. Starting now." And Clara, who had arrived with nothing but hope, felt a new weight settle in her chest, not fear, but belonging. Home. On that Christmas Eve, in a cabin half buried in snow and brimming with quiet miracles, two strangers became something like destiny. And for the first time in years, Clara let herself dream. If you enjoyed this beautiful journey of courage, love, and hope, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful story like this one. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt tales to life. Thank you for being here.